In this episode, we'll learn how to make an assignment. And frankly, it's going to be boring. All right, gonna make an assignment. So here we are on the assignments page. And right now I have this blank class, but remember, we would have at this point imported our assignment categories already. And so I want to make sure that I put it in the right category. We'll get to that in a minute. Right now, we're just going to make a new assignment. Okay. Now, I'm going to do an example, but I will stop occasionally to talk about other possibilities. So in this case, we'll just call this assignment origin story. Something particular about the names of assignments, they need to be below a certain number of characters. I don't particularly remember how many it is, but don't stop it. If your assignment name is too long, it won't import into the gradebook. It'll tell you when you try to sync, like sync failed, title too long, just because, in the gradebook display, if there's too many characters. So you got to keep the names of assignments short. In the past, I have coded some of these like a 1.1, a 1.2, etc., etc. And then you can put more details in the body of the assignment. But I'm just going to call it origin story for the purpose of this demonstration. Now, in the simplest sense, you put instructions or what students are going to get here, and then you decide how they're going to respond to you. Now, the simplest way is to have a text box where you say stuff and then have a text box where they say stuff. But that is kind of boring and simple. So in this case, I'm going to do, what I typically do, which is a Google Docs integration. So my phone just heard me say that word. What I'm going to do is tell students, for today's assignment, open. And I like to use hyperlinks. This document and come and follow the instructions therein. Okay, so now let's go to the actual document we're going to use. And in this case, I've got a template. So it's basically the questions and a blank template. So there are some linked resources up here, including a short podcast about origin stories, a Wikipedia article about origin stories, an article from Salon about why people are obsessed with them, and then an article from Smithsonian Magazine about the origin of Wonder Woman. So, you can kind of pack in a lot of resources that are available right here just by clicking, so that's cool. And then we're going to basically walk students through generating an origin story of their own with some brainstorming activities. So they listen, etc., etc. And then they got to build an avatar. Eventually we made film trailers, and they had to do a kind of in a world style trailer featuring their superhero fighting some force. So this is the template. Now what we're going to do here is share this. Now I'm going to, like we did in a previous video, change this to anyone with the link and copy my document. I will copy the link. Now I'll come back to my assignment and hyperlink my text. Control K, Control V, Enter. Now remember, we could make that an automatic copy. In this case, since I'm just demonstrating for you, I won't. Now, down to the details. And this is the really important, really boring part. So, hang with me. We need to decide how many points this is going to be worth. If you're doing total points, maybe you have to weight these things this way. I prefer total points as opposed to weighted categories because math is easier. So, I mean, in choosing the value of the points is how I kind of weight things. An assignment group. Now, I only have one here, and it's assignments, because in this class, I've not imported any categories from PowerSchool. There is no PowerSchool class called Canvas with Chef from which to pull categories, so it wouldn't work even if I did it. But had I done that, I would see coursework, quizzes, whatever my categories were that I pulled from PowerSchool. Now, you can later drag around your assignments into their proper category to get them to sync. You can also choose, when you set it up the first time, just to make sure that when you in this drop-down menu, that you've got it in the right category. You can display the grade however you want. Points make sense to me. Now, submission types are important. In this case, I want my student to give me back a Google Doc. I gave them a template. They're going to fill it out. They're going to give it back to me. So I will choose File Upload. I'm going to disallow text. You could have it. There are so many possible combinations of submission types. Now, if you want a very specific kind, like a Google Doc that gets displayed in the speed grader so that you have a consistent image on your screen while you're grading, then you need to be very specific with students how you want them to submit this. Now, sometimes I might just do a little tech lesson, say, hey, it's going to be text entry, and what I want is a hyperlink. And I don't mean a URL. I mean, I say, here is my assignment, hyperlink the word here. Be explicit about your instructions. So in this case, I'm going to say you got to upload a Google Doc. Can't enter any text, so I just took that away. Typically, I will allow multiple attempts, because sometimes you turn something in and you go, oh crap, I forgot to do that thing, rather than have me having to go back and remove that submission. It'll show you the latest one first. Sync to PowerSchool needs to be checked. If you wanted to sync to PowerSchool. I don't know why you would grade something and then not have it in the book. If you're not going to grade it, then don't have a grade for it. Due dates are important. If there's something does not have a due date, it won't sync to PowerSchool. They sync to PowerSchool. I'm pretty sure the default arrangement view in this grade book, at least, is by due date. Change that, but that's the default. So things will show up in the order that they are due. It also gives students notification, like I have before, just put a due date early, but when I thought something was going to happen, I never adjusted it, and then kids freak out because they're like, oh, I'm late, it says I'm late, am I going to lose points? And, that's good, because it means they, one, are paying attention and looking at the information when something is due, and they have some anxiety about it, they care. So you got to keep up with that because they care about it, but it's worth doing, I guess, if they really care about it. So once you've done all this, you can publish or save. I'm just going to save right now. Oh, it's going to make me add a due date, and I'm going to say, I just said, make sure you got a due date, and then I didn't do it. We're doing this tomorrow. We'll make it due tomorrow. Make it due today, and then you'll feel like you're late.